subject that I think is really important that I'm hearing a lot about, that I experience personally, and I think that needs a little bit more honest discussion out there in the world, and that is caregiver burnout. The numbers just dropped and they are staggering. Nearly 1 in 4 American adults, that's 63 million people, are currently serving as family caregivers. So, taking care of a parent or some member of the family that needs really, a lot of care, even full time care. 90% of those people who are serving as a family caregiver right now show symptoms of burnout. 20% of those people describe the burnout as severe. And this is staggering. The number of Americans providing unpaid family care has increased 45% since 2015. This is not a niche topic. This is a silent crisis happening in tens of millions of living rooms right now. And very few people are talking about it, honestly. I really think it's important to talk about, we're going through this in my family, and of the people I grew up with, 3 of my friends right now are going through this at all different levels. And it's really scary. So, here are some important things to think about. Nobody prepared us for this. I am of the generation, if you are Generation X or an elder millennial, we were a generation that was told to go to college, build a career, have kids. And nobody in that plan mentioned that somewhere in their 40s, they were going to become a de facto nurse, a financial manager, and an emotional support system for aging parents. So us sandwich generation, we're really getting crushed. The generation made up of Gen X and older millennials with young kids and boomer parents. Um, so that's 1 in 4 caregivers of adults over 65 also have children under 18, 2 sets of dependents, 1 set of shoulders. So here's another thing. Maybe the inheritance you were counting on, it's now paying for a nursing home. So in 2025, the national annual median cost of in-home long-term care was about $80,000. Nursing home care ran between $115,000 and $129,000 per year, more than twice the median household income for Americans 65 and older. Um, and to access Medicaid long-term care, adults must spend down their savings to near poverty levels before the government steps in to help. The wealth transfer people were planning on is going to the care facility. So that's a really important conversation that people aren't having. There are a lot of people in their 40s that were really depending on money from the family, and it is now going, anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 a month is going to the nursing home. So this is also a full-time job that nobody is paying you for. Caregivers spend an average of 27 hours per week providing care, and with a quarter providing 40 or more hours per week. That's the equivalent of a full-time job. And 88% of family caregivers saying they're not getting enough support. So basically, you have a full-time job where you're not getting paid on top of something else. And let me be very clear, this is a very emotionally taxing job. The other issue is it's often a sibling who is the closest or who doesn't have other people they have to take care of who gets really stuck caring for the elderly parents. And it really isn't something that should be a solo experience. It's something that the whole family should be working on. So I just want to go over a few key topics, and I'm going to do a second live where I talk about what you actually do to take care of yourself if you are caring for a parent. But here are the things that nobody talks about that I really just want to say it's really important that you are aware of these costs to yourself because they matter. First of all, there's the emotional cost that nobody talks about. If you are watching a parent decline, which I am, um, any kind of dementia situation or physical decline, it is exceptionally hard to watch. to watch your parent who was once a vibrant, thoughtful, whatever they were, become somebody who's really just terrified to get up and have to go to the bathroom is it's not for the weak of heart. So there's incredible guilt, like you're not doing enough. There's anger and frustration about the situation, even when they're in really good places. Things never happen fast enough. Medications never get there fast enough. Um, my father's in a wonderful place, but he's had an infection for a couple of days now, and the results haven't come in. And, my brother and I have to call over and over to get people to take care of these things. So, and again, we feel guilty. We're not there. It's a really, really tough thing. So the stress and anxiety that are reported, 87% of caregivers experience stress and anxiety at least weekly. Um, then there's the financial gut punch. So let's just be honest about this, because this is the most, I look, I don't want to be up here pointing fingers at health insurance companies or all these companies, because, we need them all, but it is absolutely unbelievable what these things cost. So first of all, there's the gut punch of what care actually costs. And if you don't have health insurance, this is tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket every single month. Um, so 62% of caregivers say the cost of caring for a parent has impacted their ability to plan for their own financial future. Many unable to contribute to retirement plans are forced to dip into savings. The cruel irony is that the generation caring for aging parents is simultaneously falling behind on their own retirement. So they are potentially setting up their own children for the exact same crisis 20 years from now. So I have seen this at all levels. I know people who are spending the family fortune to keep their parents in these places. I have friends who their parents did not have the resources, so they are in a scramble all the time to make sure that things are being taken care of. It's just an extraordinary expense. And again, for me personally, I would say where it hits me is I have to get up and go there every time something happens. So it makes my work life a little bit choppier. Um, and certainly the emotional factors, some days it's just hard. You just don't feel like doing it because you're just so taxed from everything else. Okay, so that brings me into the career hit. Nearly two-thirds of caregivers say caregiving hurts their job performance. That's exactly what I was just talking about. You spend a week or two caregiving for somebody, especially if it's a tough few weeks, and the last thing you want to do is go perform duties that don't seem important. So people are quietly leaving the workforce, turning down promotions, going part-time, or simply showing up depleted every single day. So there is absolutely an invisible career tax that nobody is tracking or compensating. So this is another big one, the relationship damage. 41% of millennial caregivers and 38% of Gen X caregivers say that caregiving has damaged their personal relationships. That means that marriages are under strain, friendships are falling away. The caregiver is becoming increasingly isolated precisely when they need connection most. So it makes sense, right? And for anybody who is going through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like what you need most is to go be with your friends or be with your spouse or be with your children, but you are stuck somewhere making sure somebody being their advocate in the hospital, at the doctor's office, at the bank. And these things are not easy. And it's almost like as a power of attorney, everything takes twice as long. So when I walk into the bank as a power of attorney, it takes me twice as long as if I actually had him with me. When I have to call the health insurance companies and act as power of attorney, very often I have to go through this process. So it slows everything down. So there's relationship damage. And what I really want to end with is the understanding that the system is broken. It's not your fault. So the US treats elder care as a private family responsibility in a way almost no other developed country does. And I love America, don't get me wrong, I'm a proud American. There's nothing about that. But what we need to understand is that in other countries, in other cultures, they treat their elders and their parents in kind of a different way. So in Germany, the state pays family caregivers approximately 17 euros per hour and also pays their pension contribution. Meanwhile, here in America, we're expected to do it for free. We lose career ground doing it. And, many of us are watching our own savings kind of deplete in the process. So, this is a policy failure, not a personal one. And again, I'm not being political with any of this. All Americans are going through this right now. So, if you want to share in the comments, if there's a comment that describes how caregiving makes you feel, please do. And I am going to do a part two to this. And in part two, we're really going to talk about what to do to manage caregiver burnout, because there are some things you can do to take care of yourself, to get the support you need. And it's really about knowing what to do and how to ask for help. So I will write that one out and try and do it tomorrow or Friday. But in the meantime, if you are out there and caregiving, I understand it is an extraordinary experience to be caregiving in 2026. Just remember you are not alone, and, you know, we're all in this together. So, it's important to understand the facts so you know that what you're going through is something that a lot of us are going through. And again, we're going to come back and talk about resources next time. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe or follow button.